CNN Philippines has learned of an ongoing firefight.
I have declared martial law for Mindanao.
Firefight continues here in Marawi City and we can still hear gunshots.
You see Marawi City from here. That's the ground zero.
7 months since rebel fighters claiming allegiance to the Islamic State or ISIS stormed the lakeside city of Marawi, setting off a 5-month-long war with government forces, the liberated city lies in ruins. In part 1 of this special edition of Profiles, we take you to Marawi, Lanao del Sur, and nearby Iligan, where most of the internally displaced people, or IDPs, were evacuated, as Maranaos struggle to come to terms with heartbreak and a bittersweet homecoming. Shattered dreams, destruction, and devastation. This is what Maranaos face as they rebuild their lives after losing everything. We talked to inspiring Maranaos about how they're rising from the ashes and how they're finding a sense of identity and homecoming amidst the losses and destruction of war. Over 1,000 combatants, including foreign fighters as well as civilians, were killed in the fighting. About 400,000 people in and around Marawi were displaced. The arduous task of rebuilding the city is not only physically challenging, but even more difficult emotionally for residents. Maranaos grieve as the long road to rebuilding begins. Displaced residents yearn to return to their homes. One of the groups on the ground working on rebuilding efforts is the Maranao People Development Center, or Maradeca, a peace and development non-government organization established in 1999. All the members of the group were victims of the war themselves, but they never ceased working to help those affected by the war. Some of the Maradeca staff recount the day the Marawi siege broke out, changing their lives forever. Sinab Ibrahim, Maradeca operations manager, was meeting with out-of-town guests when she got word of gunfire and explosions in the city. She immediately took the guests to the safety of their accommodations.
Pagbalik namin, may putukan na talaga. So hindi ko alam kung pupunta ba ako ng Iligan o babalik ako sa office. Pero nung maano ko na ay, yung mga tao sa office, kailangan balikan ko yun. Nung araw na yun, nakikita namin doon yung yung...
So yun yung ground zero?
Oh, yan yung ground zero. Ang city jails, yun ang unang sinunog ng mga multi-group. Sa may bukana na yan, yung parang rice field, may nagatakbuhan na mga tao dyan.
At kayo, nandito kayong sa may mga tao din?
May mga tao dito.
Tinitignan nyo?
Nanonood pa kami. Nung may makita kami dyan sa may dyan, na mga ang daming flashlight. Natakot kami, kaya pumasok kami lahat.
Nagtago kayo sa baba?
Nagtago kami sa yung ibang non-Moro, dito namin pinatago yung mga Christian kasi prayer room namin ito. Tapos so dito sila natutulog din yung iba. Tapos nilagyan lang namin ito. Parang siya na hindi sila din dito. Tapos dito yung ibang, yung mga Moro na dito sila natutulog. May nag-text sa amin na ang kinukuha ni is mga non-Moro, tapos inaanuan daw, pinupugutan ng ulo. Sabi ko, ano kaya ang gagawin namin dito sa mga non-Moro? So, hindi, naano ako kasi kung maagaw sila sa amin, ang una sigurong mamamatay kami na ayaw namin na may masaktan. Doon.
Nagpanik na ulit sa Sinab, sabi, itago nyo yung mga kasamahan natin ng mga non-Muslim. So, bawat isa sa inyo, magkuha kayo sa kanila, tapos itabi nyo, kayo magtabi, tapos turuan nyo sila kung ano yung isasagon nila. Kung sakaling may pumasok sa atin na magtatanong, pag tinanong ka kung paano magsahada. So, tinuruan namin sila. Tapos, hanap kami ng mga ganito, pinasuot sa kanila. So, alhamdulillah, wala namang nangyaring wala namang pumasok sa opisina namin. Dinaanan namin talaga yung mga ISIS na nakatayo sila, ang dami nilang baril. Tapos makikita mo talaga puro bata. Blocking lahat ng crossing ng downtown. Dahil nandun yung mga sasakyan nila nakaharang dun sa daan. Dumiretso na kami sa may downtown kung saan yung may mga i-rescue kami na mga kamag-anak ng mga iba naming kasamahan naming staff.
With the fighting happening downtown, in the central business district where they lived, Norlia and company were forced to turn back and return to the office. They began to evacuate.
Hindi na talaga kami nakauwi, hindi ka na makapapasok sa loob.
Saan kayo pumunta?
Sa Iligan kami.
Anong nararamdaman nyo noon, yung panahon na yun? Kasi syempre, lahat kayo na-traumatize. Pero tuloy pa rin yung trabaho nyo. Hindi nyo inisip na tama na muna to, isasara natin yung Maradeka.
Hindi. Kaya ang naramdaman namin yung kung kailangan namin, mas kailangan ng maraming tao. So yun ang nasa isip namin na hindi namin isisara yung Maradeka. Kailangan na mag-work kami.
Maradeka project staff na Jer Haji Jalel was out of the country for a meeting while his wife, Nurjana, a public school teacher, was at home with their 5 children. They were communicating through mobile phone apps before Nurjana and the rest of the family evacuated.
So pagka-alauna, may grabe yung putok, parang dun nagpaputok yung mga ISIS dun sa tulay. Iwan ko anong klaseng baril, basta ang lakas. Baba tayo, sabi ko, kasi gira na ata ito eh. Naisip ko bukas kailangan makaalis tayo dito. Dinala ko yung gatas nung bunso kasi nga 4 months lang siya. At saka maliit na pack, pinadala ko sa kapatid ko na lalaki. Yun lang talagang nadala namin at saka maliit na shoulder bag na nandun yung ibang gamit ko.
So mga valuables mo, syempre mga savings nyo.
Yung bag ko, yun yung maliit.
Ito siya, yan lang nadala ko.
May 12,000 na hindi niya alam.
Alhamdulillah, yung din ang nagamit namin. Swerte na bag yan.
At swerte, nandito kayong lahat.
Oo, alhamdulillah, buhay kami. Kahit wala kaming nadala, nandyan yung mga bata.
At parati talagang mga Maranao, hindi kayo naglalagay sa bangko.
Hindi.
Talagang lahat na sa bahay.
Sa bahay
lang.
Kasi ang isang hindi man masama, pero basta may interest, bawal sa Muslim man.
So, nakabalik na ba kayo? Nakita nyo yung nangyari sa bahay nyo?
Hindi. Naka-ilan beses kami. Facebook lang.
Yung may mga sundalo kami na natanong, sabi nila, sunog na yan kasi ISIS daw ang
Sumunog. Kahit mamatay ako, basta makita ko lang yung bahay, kung nasunog na o naano na.
Kahit papilis man lang.
Pinaka-importante sa akin yung mga papilis ko. Bago ako umalis, yung
in-arrange pa niya yung mga papeles
documents ko. Parang nasa isip ko lang na mayroong mangyari sa bahay.
Kaya niya yun
Kaya in-arrange ko.
Nararamdaman niyo ba ang tulong ng gobyerno? May nakukuha ba kayo?
Mas malaki talaga yung natatanggap namin na galing sa private, tulad ng mga NGO kaysa government. Kasi ang alam namin na government lang is yung sa DSWD.
Ano yun? Anong binibigay nila?
Yung mga
sardinas,
noodles.
Para sa mga nakasa sa evacuation center, yan ba talagang kailangan?
Siyempre, ang unang-unang kailangan is pagkain. Pero sa opinion ko lang is, kailangan din ng tao ang pera. Anong gusto niyang bilhin na mabibili niya o makukuha niya o makakain ng mga pamilya niya.
Saan niyo nakukuha yung lakas niyo? Ang hirap talaga ng dinadaanan niyo.
Alhamdulillah. Salamat kay Allah.
Salamat kay Allah.
Tsaka yung mga bata na lang yung iniisip, kailangan. Kung anong nandyan, pasalamat tayo, buhay tayo. Swerte pa nga namin may
natuluyan.
Anong mga pangarap niyo? Anong gusto niyo makita?
Pinaka namin is makauwi sa Marawi. Doon makatapos yung mga bata. Tapos lahat ng taga Marawi na sa war zone. Ma-okay na sila lahat. Smile lang. Keep on moving na lang kasi wala rin magagawa. Nandyan na eh.
So bakit ko didibdibin o bakit ko iisipin? May mas malaki pang nawala kaysa akin.
Hindi lang gamit pera kundi buhay.
Judge and Dr. Osop Abbas was at a medical convention in Manila when the fighting broke out. He returned to Marawi on May 26th, but was barred from entering his hospital and residential compound, which was badly damaged during the siege in the main battle area.
We were not expecting that it will reach up to 6 months or 5 months, because we were expecting then that it will be only good for 3 days. Then the terrorists will get out. And that is the very reason why many of us failed to bring all their belongings because they were thinking na makakabalik sila. Oh, and it was Ramadan. Wala, hindi kami nabalik. Then we had been waiting every day na makabalik kami.
Judge Abbas and his family evacuated to Iligan and are still getting used to their new normal here.
We have been here since May 26, about 3 days following the siege of Marawi City.
So this was your rest house in
Yes,
Iligan?
this is my small rest house. I used to stay here once in a while. So because of the siege, we were involuntarily displaced. Nagamit po namin itong maliit na bahay.
So ilan po kayo yung mga anak niyo nandito? Your 2 daughters and their families?
3 daughters.
3 daughters.
And 2 daughters has their families, and they are all here. One family composing of about 5 of them. 2 families in one room. 2 families, 1 family, 1 family. There are also evacuees who join us.
Your family members also?
Our family members.
So minsan may natutulog dito?
Opo. During that early period. Alam mo po, yung Maranao, very close ang family ties. Mga kapatid, mga pinsan, ganyan. Extended families.
Kayo nung nangyari yung Marawi siege, talagang nagsama talaga yung mga pamilya, no?
Pamilya, sama-sama.
Oo. Siguro mas parang yung family ties na strengthen. Tragedy brought you together.
Kaya sabi ko, ayaw pa ninyo, nag-banding tayo.
Bonding, but in a bittersweet.
If you have opportunity to band together. We are very lucky na walang namatay sa amin. So, ang nawala lang yung property. Ang inaalala ko lang yung mga iba who are until now living in evacuation centers. Yung iba na they live only out of their small businesses in Marawi City. Ay kaming nasa gobyerno, mayroon naman kaming mga income, mga professionals, we can practice our professions. Pero yung about mga 70% living in Marawi City who depend on the daily living and transactions in Marawi City. Sila po yung kawawa.
Najer and Orjana are among them. They show us around their temporary home in Iligan. Lumipat kayo dito ng August, no?
Oo, ma'am. Kasi nung first na pag-alis namin ng Marawi, May 24, so doon kami sa kakapatid niya sa Mahayahay. So since masikip na doon, grabe na yung sa isang room, more than 10 kami na hindi talaga kasya, hindi kami makagalaw. So nag-decide kami na lumipat dito sa compound, which is pinsan niya.
So lahat kayo dito magkakamag-anak?
Oo.
Mga 30 na kayo, no? Dito sa
More than 30.
More than 30, okay.
Tapos gumawa na kami dito ng kunting bahay, pinagawa namin,
So,
naggastos
ito yun.
kami. So ito yun siya.
Kayo sarili ang gumawa ng mga...
Pero yung iba, relief assistance from Maradeka. Ilan kami, mga 10 dito.
So dito lang dito kayo natutulog?
Natutulog na ano lang yan, plastic mat lang nakalagay.
At ito may kusina rin.
Ito yung kusina namin, relief ito.
Mga bigay.
Oo, from NGO.
Tapos may banyo rin.
Yan yung banyo namin.
So hugasan na rin. Dito
Hugasan,
kayo naglalaba na rin.
So pag may mga bisita kami, dyan din nakahiga. So yun, mga pinsan yan nandito sa amin.
Oo.
Akala nila din kahapon makakapasok sila doon sa kanila na hindi pumayag yung barrio nila, chairman nila.
So basta dito nagtutulungan kayo?
Oo, nagtutulungan kami dito.
Samira Gutok Tomawis emerged as a young leader and the public face of the Maranaos when she took a stand against the declaration of martial law in Mindanao.
We were given just a few minutes, Mitzi. Thank you to the CHR National and the Speaker. But we were almost called a second time, third time to show evidence of the tortured victims of martial law. I had photos of the families who approached us, the victims at that, Abdul Halim, 23-year-old, and we weren't given that chance anymore.
Yeah. You also quit your job. You were the commissioner of the Bangsamoro Transition Commission during that time. What happened?
That was like second day or third day. We were all together in a makeshift headquarters. And the quote that caught me and looking around me was that rape in Tagalog.
And the ramifications of martial law, I and I alone would be responsible. Pag nagka-rape ka ng tatlo, aminin ko na akin yun.
And I didn't take it literally, of course, Mitzi. I know that it was sometimes metaphorical, the way he said it, just to strengthen the forces. But for you to have seen the exodus, Mitzi, 12 hours, 8 hours, mga matatanda, without any bus offered to them by government, parang nasaktan na nga sila, walking the whole length and then fasting in 2 days. Tapos rape pa, the word like gahaman na sasabihin in public. Hindi yun pwede. So, and syempre, and then of course, practically, Mitzi, it's not all that, only about the rape joke to make a stand against it. But really, I couldn't go travel to Cotabato anymore. In drafting the bill, how can you concentrate, do something so formal when your families and all your relatives and all the co-brethren mo, Muslims and Christians, are suffering? I had to be part of that humanitarian work.
What do you think of the rehabilitation and rebuilding effort so far? It's so sad because they say the city has been liberated, but people, everything is destroyed, devastated. People are angry.
1,000 deaths, Mitzi, means 1,000 inquiries. And the Congress, in its hearing, did not even show one face of a victim.
What do you think about the extension of martial law?
Facts will bear it out that there is no invasion nor rebellion, Mitzi, in Marawi City. The group is a loose organization of 100 of men, young men, not reflective of 200,000 people, a vibrant Muslim community working with Christians.
Sultan of Marawi, Abdul Hamidullah Attar, has worked closely with Samira for years, bringing together civil society organizations in the area. They were among the organizers of the Maranaos rescue team formed at the outset of the Marawi siege. Sultan Attar says the liberation of Marawi involves an even bigger struggle.
The bigger jihad is the relationship, is the building of relationship among people. People are blaming the local government, people are blaming president, people are blaming security sector blaming the people, President Duterte blaming the people why they serve as a cuddler of this terrorist group. So all of us are blaming one another. So I believe that one of the very important healing process is that it's not only infrastructure. The rehabilitation and rebuilding in Marawi, and as far as the government agencies is concerned, is they are planning of various and different infrastructure in Marawi as they define development. And for me, the very important aspect for rehabilitation is rebuilding first the social relationship. Otherwise, this social relationship, if it is not met, whatever development that you'll put in Marawi, I believe it will fail.
Colonel Romeo Bronner, Deputy Commander of Joint Task Group Maranaos, says government forces are doing their best to carry out cleanup operations in the main battle area, also known as Ground Zero.
Right now, the immediate need is really to construct the temporary shelters for the IDPs or the internally displaced persons. But Task Force Bangon Marawi is really doing its best to hasten the building of temporary shelters for the IDPs. We want the people of Marawi to understand that the armed forces and the police are really working double time. Number one, to make sure that the place is secured, because there are still reports of recruitment being done by the ICs around the lake, so we're addressing that. We're trying to hasten the clearing operations in the main battle area so that the residents of the 24 barangays inside the main battle area can return to their houses or their businesses so that they can recover whatever they can recover and start anew.
If you want to go to Batu Mosque, that's the first.
We're fortunate to get permission to enter the main battle area, once Marawi's central business district, to see the damage for ourselves.
Ito sir yung convoy na sir.
We're with a military convoy and we are getting special access into Ground Zero. No one is allowed to enter here, but we've asked for special permission. And this is the first time that some of the Maranaos residents from Maradeca will be seeing the areas where they live and they've been destroyed completely. So it will be a very emotional time and definitely a lot of heartbreak. But we want to look at how Marawi is being rebuilt, the work that the military is doing, and how everyone is working together to bring back Marawi to its feet. Zinab, anong nararamdaman mo? Nakikita mo lahat to?
Hindi ko nangyari sa Marawi. Hindi ko kaya.
Hindi ko po masabi, ma-explain. Sobrang napakasakit po sa pakiramdam makita ang ganitong sitwasyon ng Marawi.
Next week, we take you through the ruins of the main battle area with Marawi Mayor Mahul Gandamra.
This is Quezon Avenue. This is the main thoroughfare area. Most of these buildings are residential, commercial. So ito po, madaming buildings dito, but you see the rubble na lang natitira.
He tells us about plans to rebuild the city. Find out how Maranaos are making ends meet, finding inspiration, hope, and regaining a sense of home amidst the devastation.